PSVR 2 everything we know so far. Sony's PSVR 2 is a follow-up to its first PlayStation virtual reality headset, which offered a rather neat and accessible way to PS4 players to get into VR. Thus far, we have a decent range of information around the PSVR 2, but no real picture of its design or ergonomics, but we're hopeful that it offer a next-gen step for VR that remains easy and accessible for console players. At the moment, there's no firm release date for PSVR 2, but according to the latest production report, it certainly looks set to launch sometime in 2022. However, the details about the upcoming PSVR keep surfacing, and based on what we're hearing, the wait could well be worthwhile. Below, we've included a roundup on everything there is to know about Sony's so-called PSVR 2, including all the latest information about a potential release date as well as speculation on price, features and specs. And be sure to check out our PSVR 2 versus PSVR guide to see all the biggest expected changes. In Sony's official unveiling of the new PSVR 2 controllers, it told fans up front not to expect a new virtual reality headset in 2021. That means PSVR 2 will likely come out sometime in 2022. That was given more credence with reports claiming insider information that has the PSVR 2 tipped to come out holiday 2022. Despite this, Sony still felt it was worth letting developers know publicly that a new headset would be coming so that game development could begin. There's still a lot of development underway for our new VR system, so it won't be launching in 2021, said Senior Vice President of Platform Planning Management Hideaki Nishino in a PlayStation blog post. But we wanted to provide this early update to our fans, as the development community has started to work on creating new worlds for you to explore in virtual reality. And considering Sony is having enough trouble meeting basic demand for the PS5, slipping in a PSVR 2 launch in the middle of a pandemic-induced supply chain nightmare does little good for anyone. There's no reason for us to coincide it with a new console. From the point of view of the consumer, to be bombarded with many things, oh, you have to buy this, you have to buy that, is a message that we don't want to send. In some ways, it's good to have a little breathing space between those things, Sony's Senior Vice President of RD Dominic Mallinson told CNET when asked about a PSVR 2's release back in 2019. This was also confirmed by both Hideaki Nishino, Senior Vice President of the platform, and PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan. I think we're more than a few minutes from the future of VR, Ryan said in an interview with Washington Post. A 2022 release date is looking increasingly likely, especially in light of a report claiming the PSVR 2 is set to enter mass production very soon. This news comes via hardware analyst Brad Lynch, who reports that Chinese manufacturer GERK has been tasked with ensuring there's enough stock to satisfy demand. If the PSVR 2 is ready to enter full-scale production, then an official reveal is likely just around the corner. After all, preventing substantial leaks from springing up would be a near impossible task. If the headset is being manufactured in significant volume, Sony will logically want to showcase the virtual reality hardware themselves first. While its launch will likely be towards the end of the year, this time frame gives PS5 developers more time to add VR modes to existing titles or make wholly original VR games. Rockstar is apparently working on an AA open-world title in VR, according to a LinkedIn post by Video Games Deluxe, the studio behind LA Noir, the VR case files. Sony's own Gran Turismo 7 will almost certainly have VR support. As far as the pricing goes, the original PSVR initially launched at $499 for the full set, which was a bit pricey for the average consumer at the time. It's now down to $349, packaged with newer PlayStation VR games such as Iron Man VR. The core set, with just the headset, was $100 cheaper, but it's increasingly hard to find one of those in the wild. It's unlikely that Sony is going to release a PlayStation VR headset that costs more than the system again. The new Oculus Quest 2 is a relatively affordable $299, while the Oculus Rift S costs $399. Sony wants to grow its VR fortunes, and it feels like the new PlayStation VR will probably not break $499. It's likely that Sony will take on Oculus directly and land at the $399 price tag, combined with the $500 price of the PS5 itself. That still brings the entire next-gen PlayStation VR platform under the price of the Valve Index, which can cost as much as $999 with accessories and trackers. We can only hope that by the time of its release, the global chip shortage will improve, and the next-gen PSVR will not be affected by scalper pricing. At the moment, one of the biggest rumored features of the PSVR 2 is its new controller. Sony has dropped the PlayStation Move motion controllers, which were first launched in 2010 with the PS3, and has instead opted for units that look similar to the Oculus Touch controllers. Patents also show that the PS5's DualSense adaptive triggers will also make an appearance. The new controllers will each reportedly feature an analog stick making navigation much easier than the standard PlayStation Move ones. There could also be a tracking ring across the bottom of the controller, which is a huge improvement over the single camera system Sony was using with the PlayStation Eye camera, a low-resolution sensor that launched back in 2007. One of the latest reports also claims that the controllers will include capacitive touch sensors that can allegedly detect whenever a user is holding the controller or simply interacting with its buttons. And that's not all. The new controller for Sony's next-gen VR system could even detect the distance to the user's fingers, according to the source. There are a few hints towards a future headset. Sony Japan has a job listing for an engineer to work on the development of next-generation VR. I won't go into the details of our VR strategy today beyond saying that VR is very important to us, and that the current PSVR headset is compatible with the new console, PlayStation 5 lead system architect Mark Cerny told Wired back in April of 2019. There are titles coming to the PlayStation 5, like Hitman 3, which are going to have extensive VR support. There are also several patents out there that mention new VR hardware. The first is a patent for a system to lower motion sickness in VR. Motion sickness is generally caused by the difference between the movement within VR versus the actual movements of the user's head. You might walk forward in VR, but your body isn't moving, thus leading to a disconnect between what you see and what you feel. The system in the patent relies on a vibration motor called the swing control unit. This unit would match the vibrations with the movement and acceleration of the image presented on the headset screen. It's a way to bring more real-world feedback that's matched to the VR game you're playing, thus reducing motion sickness overall. Sony also has a host of other patents, pointing towards a new headset design. One patent shows the PlayStation VR with updated eye and head tracking, allowing the display of images with further stereoscopic depth than currently available. Another points to a new headset with cameras near the nose gap of a VR headset, which would be used to capture the user's facial expressions in real time. The most important patent, obtained by Let's Go Digital, outlines a brand new headset with multiple cameras. 2 cameras are included on the front of this potential unit, similar to the new Oculus VR headsets, but the design also adds a camera on the rear strap of the unit and on a new version of the PlayStation Move controller. The patent states that the cameras could be used for a pass-through feature, showing the headset user an image of the real world around them. These cameras would be joined by an array of LED markers, allowing proper tracking of the PSVR 2. This last patent also mentions the potential of a wireless headset. The patent says that signals could be transmitted to the by a wired or wireless connection. It further states that Bluetooth could be one method of wireless connection with the console. All told, the patents point towards a very different version of the PlayStation VR. While patent diagrams retain the same basic shape for the headset, the addition of eye tracking, facial tracking, and multiple cameras means the PSVR 2 can do so much more, and wireless support would remove the lengthy cable and breakout box attached to the current PSVR. A more recent patent shows off a similar design to the original PSVR, but with a few minor changes. The display unit is smaller, while the rear headband is noticeably larger than before, and the locking wheel has been replaced in favor of a new set of internal anchors, though whether this design will be on the final headset is unclear. Display: Fresnel OLED screen's resolution, 4K HDR, 2000x2040 per IFOV, 110 degrees refresh rate, 90, 120 Hz FSR, flexible scaling resolution concentrates rendering resources on player's area of focus. Eye tracking. Yes haptics in headset, yes controllers, adaptive triggers, capacitive touch sensors. Sony confirmed that the PSVR 2 will have a 110-degree field of view, 4K HDR displays with a resolution of 2000x2040 in each eye. Both figures are significant upgrades from the current PSVR, which has a 100-degree field of view and a 1920x1080 OLED display. Other features of the new headset include eye tracking, headset feedback, and 3D audio. Eye tracking allows the VR 2 to monitor the movement of your eyes, so that it can respond without you having to move your entire head. Headset feedback provides haptic vibrations via a single motor during gameplay, while 3D audio also adds to a more immersive experience overall. PlayStation's Dominic Mallinson also talked about Sony's next-gen wireless VR headset. Wireless transmission technology is getting better every day. New technologies such as 60 GHz are allowing for these options to become possible for VR products, he said. The executive also talked about the idea of eye tracking too. Not only did Mallinson talk about eye tracking in terms of user comfort and display calibration, he also sees it as another form of input for VR games. I think that the gaze tracking is the most exciting change that we'll see in next-gen VR, said Mallinson. So really, if you look at the history of user input, starting off with keyboards, and then the mouse, and recently touchscreen interfaces, I seriously think that having gaze as user input is going to be as fundamental as each of those changes we've had in the past. That's my number one point about next-generation VR. Gaze will allow much richer user interaction. At CES 2022, Sony announced the first title that will be available for the PSVR 2, Horizon Call of the Mountain from Gorilla and Firesprite, which is being built exclusively for Sony's headset. But that's not all that Sony could implement in terms of gaming on its upcoming VR headset. The company previously said that it will offer unique experiences that are synonymous with PlayStation, which leads us to believe that there might be a potential for AA exclusives. The future of PlayStation VR is looking bright, even if we don't exactly know when Sony is actually planning on delivering that future. At least Sony's commitment to VR is strong, which at the moment cannot be said for the Xbox Series X. We'll send you pre-order details and the best Sony PlayStation 5 deals as soon as they are available.